The Ford Model A was a milestone in the automotive industry, a symbol of the golden era of American cars. But behind its success, there is a dark side that few know about. Get ready to uncover secrets and stories that no one ever told you about the Model A. After the huge success of the Ford Model T, which revolutionized the automotive industry and made cars accessible to millions of people, Ford faced a major challenge in the late 1920s, to innovate in order to remain competitive in a market that was beginning to demand more modernity, comfort, and performance. It was in this context that, in December 1927, Ford launched the Model A, a completely new car that represented a significant evolution compared to its predecessor. The Model A brought a more modern and elegant design, with smoother lines and details that reflected the trends of the time, leaving behind the rudimentary appearance of the Model T. More than just an aesthetic change, the new model offered important technical advances, such as a more powerful engine, a transmission with synchronized gears and mechanical brakes on all four wheels, features that made it safer and more efficient for drivers of the era. This launch marked a new era for Ford, which needed to prove that it was still ahead of the competition in an increasingly fierce market, where other manufacturers were starting to gain ground. The Model A not only met these expectations but quickly won over the public, selling millions of units within a few years and establishing itself as one of the most popular cars of the pre-war era. This transition from the Model T to the Model A symbolizes not only technological evolution but also an important cultural shift, where the car ceased to be merely a functional machine to become a symbol of status and lifestyle for a new generation of Americans. The Ford Model A had a profound impact on popularizing the automobile and transforming the American automotive industry. When it arrived on the market, it was not just another car, but a milestone symbolizing the definitive transition of the automobile from a product exclusive to a few, to a good accessible to a much larger portion of the population. This happened at a crucial moment in history, when cities were growing, roads were improving, and Americans' lifestyles were beginning to change thanks to the mobility provided by cars. Archival images show busy streets with lines of Model S circulating through neighborhoods and urban centers, illustrating the vehicle's central role in people's daily lives. Newspapers of the time celebrated Ford's success, with headlines highlighting the innovation and popularity of the Model A, which quickly won the hearts of consumers. Historical testimonials reinforced this view, with accounts from drivers and experts of the era who saw the car as a symbol of progress and modernity. Public acceptance was rapid and massive. The Model A managed to combine an affordable price, attractive design, and technical improvements that met the expectations of a generation looking for more than basic transportation. They wanted comfort, style, and safety. Within a few years, millions of units were sold, solidifying the model as one of the pillars of the automotive industry in the United States and strongly influencing car production in the following decades. This rapid success of the Model A not only propelled Ford to new achievements but also served as a catalyst for the entire industry, encouraging competitors to innovate and improve their own vehicles. Thus, the Model A was fundamental in shaping the automotive market, making the car an essential part of the country's culture and economic development. Despite its tremendous success and the technological advances it represented, the Ford Model A was not free from technical problems that caused headaches for many owners at the time. One of the car's main weaknesses was its ignition system, which frequently malfunctioned and made reliable engine operation difficult, especially under adverse conditions. These issues ranged from difficulty starting the vehicle to unexpected failures while driving, causing insecurity for drivers. Additionally, the Model A's brakes were known for their limited effectiveness. Although an improvement over the Model T, they were still simple mechanical brakes, not very efficient for the increasingly higher speeds the car began to reach. This made controlling the vehicle more difficult, especially on winding roads or rough terrain, increasing the risk of accidents. Another critical point was the suspension, which was relatively fragile for the road conditions of the time, which were often uneven, full of potholes, and poorly maintained. Rapid wear of parts and the constant need for adjustments generated additional costs and considerable inconvenience for drivers, who needed to keep the car in proper condition to avoid breakdowns and more serious failures. Mechanics' testimonials from the time confirmed that, despite being an industry advance, the Model A required careful and frequent maintenance, which raised the total cost of ownership. Owners also reported the annoyance of constant repairs, which sometimes caused frustration and wear, especially for those who did not have easy access to specialized workshops. Compared to some competitors such as cars produced by Chevrolet and Dodge, the Model A lagged behind in certain technical aspects. These brands were already beginning to offer hydraulic brake systems, more robust suspensions, and more reliable ignitions, attracting part of the public seeking greater comfort and safety. This fierce competition forced Ford to revise its designs and improve future models to avoid losing market share. Thus, although the Ford Model A was a milestone of innovation, its technical problems also reveal a dark side that few know about, showing that the path to success was marked by challenges and difficulties that directly affected its users. Despite all the advances it represented for its time, the Ford Model A was involved in numerous accidents that raised serious concerns about its safety and the vulnerability of its drivers. The car's technical limitations such as inefficient brakes and fragile suspension, combined with the poor road conditions of the 1920s and early 1930s, contributed to many severe accidents, leaving lasting marks on the vehicle's reputation. Several reports from that era documented collisions, rollovers, and even fatal tragedies involving the Model A, especially on rural stretches and dirt roads where the car struggled to maintain stability. Old newspapers featured alarming headlines highlighting the insecurity of automobiles at the time, with the Model A often at the center of these discussions. Images and newspaper clippings show not only the accidents but also the public's reactions, which led to demands for improvements both in vehicles and roadways. Respectful testimonials from families who lost loved ones in Model A accidents emphasize the human side of these stories, reminding us that behind the car's fame and success were lives affected and communities impacted. These accounts help us understand how technical limitations influenced not only comfort but also the safety of users. The precariousness of roads, often full of potholes and poorly marked, combined with the absence of modern safety equipment such as seat belts and airbags, intensified the risks. The Model A, designed for an era of lower speeds and less traffic, was not prepared for the increasing demands of rapidly developing urban and highway traffic. This accident history had a direct effect on the image of the Ford Model A. Although admired for its innovation and accessibility, the car also came to carry the stigma of being unsafe under certain conditions, which influenced public perception and pressured the automotive industry to accelerate the development of safety technologies in subsequent models. The Ford Model A was not only a technological and automotive milestone but also a symbol loaded with social and economic meanings that sparked deep controversies at the time of its launch and throughout its rise in popularity. Although it served as a gateway to the automobile world for millions of Americans, the Model A also faced resistance, especially among social elites who viewed the car with a certain distrust and even disdain, associating it with a working and emerging class that was beginning to gain ground in society. For many members of the upper social strata, owning a Ford Model A was not a status symbol but rather a mark of the masses, a symbol of a lower class that now had access to mobility and freedom previously reserved for a few. This social resistance manifested itself in veiled criticisms, jokes, and even discriminatory attitudes toward Model A drivers, who represented a shift in the social and cultural balance of the United States. On the other hand, for the middle and working classes, the Model A was a source of pride, a sign of progress and personal achievement that reflected the American dream of freedom and mobility. Economically, the impact of the Model A was equally significant and at times controversial. The mass production of the car helped consolidate the American automotive industry as a global powerhouse, generating thousands of direct and indirect jobs. Cities and small communities began to transform to accommodate the growing number of vehicles on the streets, investing in infrastructure improvements, roads, and automobile-related services. This boosted the economy but also brought challenges such as increased traffic, pollution, and the need for stricter regulations. Experts and historians highlight that the Model A was one of the most important catalysts for urbanization and social change in the early 20th century. The mobility provided by the car allowed people to leave rural areas, seek jobs in urban centers, and expand their economic and cultural activities. This phenomenon contributed to the emergence of new social dynamics, trade networks, and lifestyles that defined American modernity. However, not everything was positive or immediately accepted. The expansion of the automobile, symbolized by the Model A, also accentuated inequalities and social tensions. Regions and groups without access to cars or urban improvements became marginalized, and the rapid growth of traffic caused conflicts among drivers, pedestrians, and authorities. The Model A thus became a symbol both of social transformation and the contradictions of this transition. In this way, the Ford Model A is not just a car in history but a central piece in a moment of profound social and economic change in the United States, reflecting the hopes, tensions, and challenges of an era that shaped the country's future. Behind the popularity and commercial success of the Ford Model A lie several curiosities and secrets that few know about but certainly fascinate enthusiasts and collectors to this day. One of the most interesting aspects is the rare versions and little-known prototypes that Ford developed during the Model A's production cycle, many of which never reached the assembly lines or were produced in extremely limited numbers. For example, there are records of special models featuring unique body configurations, such as sporty and utility versions aimed at specific market niches but discontinued before gaining popularity due to commercial or technical reasons. These vehicles are true rarities today and spark curiosity because of their exclusivity and peculiar characteristics. Some of these prototypes included slightly different engines or suspension adaptations intended to improve drivability, innovations that were abandoned but showed Ford's boldness in experimenting with new solutions. Behind the scenes at Ford, accounts from engineers and executives reveal that many design and production decisions were the subject of heated debates and even controversies. Some adjustments to the Model A were imposed to reduce costs or speed up manufacturing, even if it meant compromising certain quality or comfort standards. These details, often omitted from official narratives, reveal a less glamorous side of the industrial process, showing that the quest to popularize the car came with difficult and sometimes controversial choices. Another secret that surprises many modern collectors is linked to technical details that went unnoticed for decades. For instance, certain Model A versions featured innovative cooling system solutions and fine engine adjustments that increased performance without significantly altering the car's appearance. Small modifications to the chassis and transmission system, often done in specialized workshops, are also part of this hidden world known only to those who dive deeply into the Model A's history. These curiosities and secrets reveal that the Ford Model A is much more than a popular classic. It is an object filled with fascinating stories, bold decisions, and advanced techniques for its time. This lesser-known side keeps the passion alive among fans and collectors, who continue to discover new details and preserve this automotive heritage with admiration and respect. Despite the challenges and controversies it faced during its production, the Ford Model A left a lasting legacy that still resonates in the automotive industry and popular culture. Historically, it marked a fundamental transition for Ford and the automotive market as a whole, representing the modernization of mass manufacturing and the consolidation of the automobile as an indispensable element of everyday life. The importance of the Model A goes beyond its impressive sales at the time. It served as a foundation for technologies and concepts that shaped modern cars. Many of the advances introduced, even if imperfect, paved the way for future improvements in safety, comfort, and performance. The effort to overcome the technical problems of the Model A pushed Ford to innovate and invest in research and development, a direct reflection of the model's dark side that could not be ignored. This influence can be seen in subsequent generations of Ford vehicles, where the experience gained with the Model A helped avoid mistakes and improve automotive design and engineering. The Model A's dark side, with its flaws and limitations, served as a valuable lesson for the industry, showing that success comes not only from innovation but also from the responsibility to ensure quality and safety for consumers. Modern collectors and historians often highlight the Model A as an icon representing both the advances and difficulties of a pioneering era. Passionate testimonials reveal how much this car means to those who value automotive history, not just as a machine, but as a symbol of a time of social and technological transformation. For these enthusiasts, the Model A is a living museum piece that continues to teach and inspire generations, even with its dark side still present in the collective memory. Thus, the Ford Model A remains a complex legend, a milestone of innovation, an object of passion, and simultaneously a warning about the challenges faced in building the American automotive dream. Throughout this video, we explore a lesser-known side of the Ford Model A, a car that revolutionized the automotive industry but also carried flaws, technical challenges, and controversies that marked its journey. From hidden mechanical problems to accidents that shook its reputation, and the social tensions surrounding it, the Model A revealed a much more complex story than the classic image of success that many hold. This journey leads us to an important reflection. Was the Ford Model A just a revolutionary car, a symbol of modernity and the democratization of the automobile? Or is it also a legend with flaws and shadows that few want to remember? This duality is part of the history and evolution of the automobile, showing that every innovation comes with risks and lessons. Now, we want to hear from you. Have you ever had any experience with the Model A? Do you know other stories or curiosities about this classic? Leave your comment and share your opinions. Your participation is essential to enrich this conversation and keep the memory of this automotive icon alive. If you enjoyed discovering the dark side of the Ford Model A and want to keep exploring amazing stories and exclusive content about classic cars, don't forget to like this video, share it with your car-loving friends, and subscribe to the channel. This way you'll always stay updated on the latest news and help strengthen our community of enthusiasts. And to make sure you don't miss anything, check out the videos appearing on the screen now. There are more curiosities, analyses, and secrets from the world of vintage cars that will keep you hooked from start to finish. Thank you so much for watching and see you in the next video.